modern schemes, unraveling truths and chasing dreams.
Good morning, Candy. Good morning, Big Doe. Thank you for the like. I gave people homework yesterday. I asked them to pick an inventor. So my inventor is a Hoodooist from New York, born in New York, became a sailor at 16, was an active recruiter for the Union during the Civil, right? And he was also an occult author, and he created tools. So I told him to give me some images of the tools he made. He was like into Schmeck's type of work. He created what is called seership, and these are the things that they gave me as his tools. He also created some type of mirrors. I got to do a further deep dive on him. I found that interesting. Now, he is supposed to be a biracial man, and so if you look at the Wikipedia picture of him, he is like really, really light skinned. I had to Google if the man was Black American, right? But when I asked AI to re-image his picture, good morning, Brother Simon. They gave me this image, and so his name is Pastor Beverly Randolph. And what I noticed is when I asked them who were famous Hoodooists from New York, they mentioned Queenie, Madam Queenie. If we remember the movie Hoodlum, she's West Indian, and that's who Bumpy Johnson was protecting. So I made sure that he was of U.S. chattel slavery descent, and he was legally recognized as a Black American. So he's ours, y'all. But I had to make sure. So he was into like occult work, hoodoo. He created something called seership. He wrote books. So I have some more digging to do. The premise for all of my lives for the past, I'm going to just say 2 weeks, right, have focused on destroying the narrative of Tetherville. What do you mean by Tetherville, BX? Well, then New York ain't beating them allegations that we have the most tethers. I do know we have the loudest ones here. So it's New York and Florida running neck and neck, and they seem to think that immigrants, even the mayor said that immigrants built New York. So I've just been focusing on, you were supposed to, I messaged you why you don't have your inventor. I hope you're coming back with an inventor, Simon. Thank you. So I've just been doing like showing how we lost our land upstate and due to urban renewal. But what they're not saying is that urban renewal had a form of violence. I also was showing how our ancestors gave a resistance to the conditions that they were in. Now, sadly, I do see some of my Southern family, right, are saying there was no slavery in the North and no Jim Crow. We actually did have it here. And sometimes the enslaved would sleep in the house, right? So it wasn't like a big plantation style, even though we had plantations. There were like you'll have like a house, right? And then it'll have like a little room, a little bigger than a closet, but smaller than a big walk-in closet, if that makes sense. And that's where they would sleep. We did harvest crops here, such as wheat. So there's one town or settlement that Sandy Ground. If you look it up today, it was destroyed due to the Verrazano Bridge being built so that it could connect Staten Island to Manhattan. And that town is they were given the least fertile farm like the least fertile land, and they made it work for them. And what's interesting about that is it shows a connection from Maryland to New York, because those who were like oyster farmers in Maryland was escaping their persecution in Maryland, Snowden to be exact, and they came up to New York with our oyster farmers, so that was a big thing for them. And that sort of faded, destroyed by urban renewal. And one of the descendants of Sandy Ground actually opened a soul food restaurant in Staten Island. So she is, definitely from New York, definitely of the lineage, and the mayor went there. And the only thing with all that history, the only thing he could reference from what I saw was Wu-Tang. I was so upset, but I don't know what their conversation was like. That's not my business really, but I was just hoping that he would have gotten a little bit more from the experience than a Wu-Tang reference. So I'm just trying to show that we didn't need the Caribbean or the Latinos or anybody. And sorry, my Southerners, we were here since the 1600s in New York. So we didn't really need a lot of people to migrate here for us to get some culture. I like to say that when the South came up, the cultures meshed. Because up here we had syncopated piano type of genre. We did have a culture of church, of family organization. I just think that in the North it was like maybe a smaller scale than in the South. I'm not saying that jazz and blues wasn't created in the South. I'm just saying New York had a culture here too. We didn't wait for anybody to migrate up here. And that when the South primarily migrated up, the cultures meshed together, So, yeah. You got your inventor? You gonna come up? You gonna come up, Candy?
Means they need government subsidies.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Good
Hey,
morning.
okay. So I just woke up, but
No
I
problem.
got, you know how it is. We got to get ready for work, but whatever. Okay, so I wanted to do my inventor, but I wanted to elaborate on some of the things that George Washington Carver did that a lot of
Okay.
people don't know because we kind of think peanut butter, right? And peanuts, right? Well, all right, let's talk about him. Okay, so what he did was he developed over 300 products from peanuts, right? And sweet potatoes, 118 from sweet potatoes. All right, so he did food and beverages, like he did like industrial and commercial, cosmetics and medicine, and then other things that came from products like from sweet potatoes is like flour, molasses, vinegar, um, synthetic rubber, postage stamp glue, things like that. I mean, he was just amazing, and not to mention some of the things that he did, as far as donating to things that helped us, and he had to do it kind of under the guise of something else, because he really was truly a writer for FBA, right? So he was just this amazing inventor. And he also did some things that use soybean products. So he's really more than just, I don't know, just a guy they taught us in school. He was a scientist, an educator, and an inventor. And he was really amazing. And I think that um, it's something to be really marveled because remember, he was born a slave. And and so he was like the first black student and the first black faculty member at Iowa State University, right? Um, he led the bacterial laboratory work. So he was just this amazing guy. And remember back then, you could just imagine how much more he probably added to the world that he doesn't get credit for because of the timing of it, right? Imagine how much money we would be worth if we actually got credit for things that they were able to legally take from us during that time period. So So what he did was during World War One, there were shortages of crops and food, and Carver began developing alternative uses for sweet potatoes, soybeans, and peanuts. So, and a lot of that stuff he found that could be used to feed livestock. You know, he developed hundreds of products, including plastics, synthetic rubber, and paper. From soybean, Carver invented a process for producing paints and stains. So he was so talented. Can you imagine all of the things that we were able to accomplish with a foot on our back and on our neck? And we were able to do this. Imagine what we could do if they stopped blocking us from different industries. So, and he was doing this stuff during slavery. And I just keep reiterating that because it was such a hard time for Black people, right? I mean, you can't even go to an award show, look at BAFTA, without being called names. So imagine what they went through back then. So he also found things like adhesives, axle grease, bleach, chili sauce. I mean, flour, instant coffee, polish, shaving cream, vanishing cream, wood stains and fillers, insulating board, linoleum, like meat tenderizer. Like, this man was him. Not to mention all the wonderful things he did for us. And he did a lot of this with the Tuskegee University. So he's really an amazing man, Dr. George Washington Carver, and he will always be remembered fondly. So I just wanted to share him and some of the cool things about him.
You mentioned Tuskegee University. That was created by Booker T. Washington, correct? Because I
Mm-hmm.
remember the yes, yes. See how that works? Thank
Right.
you so much. And
You're welcome.
yeah, there's been a video going around stating that they're trying to take the creation of peanut butter away from Dr. Carver.
They're always trying to take something from us because we are the foundation, and they have to show that maybe it was someone else. They can't give us credit for nothing. We are the foundation, okay?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Thank you for coming up. I was
Of
sitting
course.
here. I was a little late. I guess I was late. I did tell everybody 8 o'clock. But I had to get some rest, and then I woke up this morning and was like, okay. And I really didn't know who I was going to look into. So I just was asking Google AI to name me like famous Hoodooists in the North. So everything that I'm doing can be beneficial for New York, who is undergoing their reparations hearings, right? Because in New York, the Latinos have a stronghold on like botanicas, spiritual stuff, right? And so Black Americans, we aren't all like predominantly Christian. A lot of us are Hoodooists. A lot of us have joined ATRs, but we don't have like, I don't find brick and mortar apothecaries is what we would call them, right? And we deal with a lot of roots, herbs, stuff like that. So we would need like a herbal store and things like that. So I did literally, good morning, Kiki Lolo, thank you. I did write to the reparations hearings when they first started, saying that as we move forward, remember the people transitioning from Christianity into spirituality, and that we would like brick and mortar type businesses to accommodate us like the Latinos have. And so now finding him, Pastor Beverly Randolph, I could show that we got a history of voodoo, and we should have our own stores and stuff. So I'm just throwing that out there in the air as to why I picked Pastor Beverly Randolph. Yeah.
I really believe that explains some of the stuff I saw in that book, Brooding on Bloody Revenge, when they talk about some of the things they did. I truly believe that some of those um, enslaved people used some of that on those people. I
Yeah.
believe that. I just do. I just do. But thank you for having me. I'm gonna finish getting ready for work and make me some coffee. I'll
No
come down.
problem. Thank you so much for joining, Candy.
Of course. Bye now.
Bye-bye. So Kiki Lolo says her grandma did hoodoo. Well, my grandmother had the gift of sight, so I'm gonna say she was a seer. I didn't necessarily see her do hoodoo, but we practice hoodoo without realizing it, right? And what I realize is that some of the practices that we have that are from hoodoo, we call it superstition. Well, that's like my circle. A lot of people I know or have met in New York, we label it as superstition. But it's the same thing, like the traditional New Year's Eve dinner. You don't want anybody to sweep your feet. Don't walk under this ladder. Don't split the. You know what I'm saying? The Black Americans house. Do you have your inventor? Are you still in the room? Don't hide. Oh, you have yours. You want to come up? How are you feeling? Kiki Lolo, your page is private, so you would have to actually request. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm feeling better. It was
Good.
pace nasal drip that made me feel bad. But my dad's mom and his two sisters did hoodoo.
Okay.
They did a lot of things that they should have not done with it too as well. Um, I do know of a story where my grandmother used to carry like a mojo bag on her all the time.
Okay.
So there was a story where they didn't have any money to buy food or anything. And when she walked out of the door of her home, she found like a big pail of money at her doorstep. Uh, my aunt, how can I say this? So anything that I say, I hope it doesn't sound strange at all. Um, but my aunt used to astro project too as well, even though that's not hoodoo, that's other things. Um, she also used to uh, be able to go into people's dreams. Something that's from a story that my one of my other aunts told me. Um, but I will tell you this: my they did stuff like love spells. Someone would come to their home all the time, and they would buy their herbs and all types of things. I do know that as far as one of my aunts had a husband who was very young. I think their age difference was like 10 or 15 years, right? So my grandmother and another aunt did something where he would never come back. So they weren't on a good side of that. They did a lot of stuff they shouldn't have been doing with their hoodoo. But eventually they stopped. But my grandmother learned it from her mom and grandmother. That's what she learned it from. Um, I don't know much about as far as any of that because by the time I came along as a kid, my grandmother had stopped doing it. So there was no remnants of it around the house. Now, as far as her bedroom, I wouldn't know. But in the living room or the bedroom that I would stay in when I spent the night, there was nothing there.
Yeah, it sounds like they banished him. But
Yeah.
yeah, but well, and this is not to excuse anybody who just uses hoodoo or any type of spiritual work for negativity, some things are forms of protection. And if you're getting the story secondhand, you don't know if that man was abusive, mentally, like, what do we know about the lover? You know what I'm saying? Husband.
Right.
So it could
Right.
have been, you know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to
Right.
put that out there. I know it sounds kind of weird. We do have a story in my family that one of my I think it was a great uncle or great grand uncle, however you call him, was like a womanizer, and he dealt with the wrong woman who tried to curse the whole lineage. Like every firstborn child would undergo certain things. So primarily to beat that, when your babies are born, you put the Bible over their head on a certain
Hmm.
song, and you rub them down and stuff like that. So yeah,
So
yeah,
how
you
did
gotta be
that?
careful.
Yeah, yeah, and the crazy part. Let me just tell you about like that's my dad's side. So on my grandmother, on my mom's side, right? My mom paternal side, paternal grandmother. My great grandfather was messing around with a woman, and a woman put a root on my great grandmother. So my grandmother, my mom's mom would always talk about how sometimes they would find roots on different relatives in their homes, and they would have to like get rid of it. Also, my dad's half sister, her husband was messing around with a woman, and the woman was putting different stuff in her home. Uh, and it was stuff to make her leave the home. And when she started noticing things were at her house, she's like, "Man, I just cleaned up. Why is this here?" And her sister-in-law was like, "That's somebody." She basically told her like, "This is what somebody does to get you out of your home." Because she already knew her husband was messing around, but she had no idea that the woman was coming to her home. So I know about like the different stories because my family is from the Delta of Mississippi. I've heard all types of stuff. My great grandmother on my mom's side, she also was a seer. So people would actually come to her and find out information. So even though she was like a stay-at-home mom, but that was her. She never charged anybody for letting them know what would happen or what she saw on them. But it's so
Yeah,
many different stories that I have heard from both sides of the family. But for sure, my dad's mom did hoodoo.
Timothy. Okay, well, let's not tell all granny secrets, right? A lot of things are
I know.
meant
I
to
just I said
protect
I must
us.
stop.
Yeah, but we also know that if you there is a hoodoo historian. There's a few hoodoo historians. Thank you, Dee. And one of the stories that they told were how the ancestors were poisoning the enslavers. You heard me? Because I kind of whispered it.
Oh, I
Yeah,
know
yeah,
about
yeah.
that.
I heard you. I heard
Uh-huh.
you.
So when you said that you believe that they did things, so yeah, that's one of the things to help us out of our condition. So we weren't necessarily like, they try to spin this narrative that we just allow certain things to happen. Remember, whitey people, they say the victors write the story. I don't say they won the WAR, right? We never was out of a race WAR. Some of us would just sleep, not realizing certain things. But we never just were a passive people to accept our conditions. Did some? Yes. But did others? Yes. So what? No. Wait. Did others? No. So they did things like root work on the enslaver. So, but the victor gets to write the story. That's the way that's the saying, how the saying goes. They get to write the story. And so you think they're going to talk about how our ancestors were maneuvering them by poisoning them? So now Yes, we weren't all passive, right? So, Black American House, do you have your inventor?
Yes, I actually have quite a few. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Um, so I know for my specific inventor. Oh my God, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Oh, I keep getting phone calls and messages and alarms and oh my goodness, my crazy life. But my specific inventor is Osborne Dorsey. They were the ones who invented, not invented, but patented specifically the doorstop, and the doorknob in 1878. And they also, um, I guess I thought it was kind of interesting because I, I thought the doorstop and the doorknob was something that was always like there for thousands of years until recently, and it just kind of blows my mind that Um, I didn't even know that until you kind of gave us that little homework assignment. Cause I guess well to go into I guess the other part because I also wanted to speak on the hoodoo aspect too.
You kind of
Uh,
went out when you said you always thought that the doorknob and the door stopped, and then you kind of went out and we didn't hear. Well, I didn't hear anything.
oh my God,
Yeah, did you get a text or something? Is that could have interrupted?
it could have been, but um, I was just saying it was just kind of I was kind of blown away that that was made here from a Black American. I never thought that it would have been. I thought it was something that was created years ago, like thousands of years ago specifically. But it was made here by a Black American, created and patented by a Black American by the name of Osborne Dorsey.
Uh, well, divine honor to Dorsey. You said Oswald?
No, Osborne. I can put it in the
Osborne.
chat.
Osborne. Okay, thank you. So go ahead. You want to touch on the hoodoo?
Yeah, when y'all were bringing that up, it and it was interesting that you were saying that you had a grandmother who was able to see my great grandmother from Alabama. She had a gift of sight as well. And I've heard stories from like my grandmother, and even my mother as well, where I think there was one particular story where they I think someone had got injured and they didn't have because they were in like a really rural town. They didn't have a doctor that was nearby, so there was a couple of people that brought the guy to I guess you would say our family home. That's not I know it's not there anymore, but and they put them on the kitchen table and she started literally like having like doing a surgery in a sense, which was just kind of blew me away. I never um like between like um people would come to her about certain stuff as well, but their main focus was like farming. They were people were um they I'm trying to think exactly the
Listening.
specific.
Thank you, Growing World. So I need to go back to the surgery thing. Thank you for the
Mhm.
gift. What do you mean she started doing a surgery? Like you got to going on that? Like literal tools or
Tools, yes,
uh,
tools. Like I don't remember every single part of the story, but I do remember that specifically where she was actually using like their own tools they had there at their farm, and she just started going like doing surgery on the guy who was injured. Um, I know they were mainly farmers, and they sold um, all different types of like between milk and meat. Because they also were butchers too. I think her husband was a butcher. My great grandmother husband, he was a butcher, and I think I'm trying to think. She was born in 1898. I think that's what it was. Cause my grandmother, they went before she passed away. Back down there, and like, because it was like in the 70s. It was 70s or 60s. Um, it was right before. It wasn't too long before she passed away. They found out her like actual the date of birth from some records they were able to find. Um, I'm trying to think of the name of the town because it was like in between Birmingham and Montgomery. It was like further south, but I think where she was born was in like I'm trying to think if it was Lettahatchee. It was something like that. It was a really it was it started with the L though. I'm gonna have to go back into like ancestry.com. I haven't been on there in a little while, but it was something like that. It was like Letta something started with the LE.
ah,
But she
yeah.
had gifts to sight though. But people would come to her though as well, because I do remember some of those stories and how of not just with her but like with my aunt, my other aunt. Cause see, I think it was um my aunt and then that was my uncle as well. Talked about
You don't want to
how
give
good
up
of a
too
cook.
many family secrets now.
I
You
know
know,
it's going on YouTube, but
I won't give out too many family secrets. But I want to say this: a lot of our grannies were, and our family members are seers. So they may not have necessarily practiced hoodoo and playing, but they like openly, but they were practicing hoodoo. It's in our culture. Hoodoo is a part of us. What I
hmm
don't like is when they try to say it's from West Africa. And I don't deny that the slave trade happened, but there are some things that I'm just going to stand 10 toes down on that is not a West African tradition. Got to remember that we do have indigenous roots as well, and they
hmm
have their own spirituality practices, and we were around the indigenous more than we ever was around the Africans. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? So I
yeah,
don't
it does.
necessarily, yeah, I don't believe that hoodoo is a West African tradition or derived from there, right? Because it's rooted in Christianity as well, if you use the Psalms. So I don't know, y'all, but I ain't
It's
giving it up.
regional, I will
Yeah.
say, because certain
Thank you,
that was one
Arlene.
that
Go
was one
ahead.
thing I was finding out that like if you were in um like one like for example like what was going on in like Georgia, Alabama might be different for Louisiana, or it was different for I'm trying to think like Virginia, like certain aspects. It wasn't like every single thing was different, but it was just like small tidbits that were different due to like the region that they were in, like being able to get certain resources of the land to do root work might be a little bit different.
So I'm gonna give you one of my gifts. Laying on hands, laying up the hands. That's about
Yeah.
healing. Yeah. And so I was talking to a hoodoo. It's more very, 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 very knowledgeable in it, and because it's like, okay, if my ulcers flare up, I can come. Oh, honoring says Ricky, I can calm that down. My son used to get headaches a lot, so yeah, I have the gift of healing through my hands, but sometimes it's only temporary. It's not a fix, you know. And then my grandmother
Yeah,
was here, so and then, oh my God, my father, he doesn't believe in certain things. He basically says, well, you know, if you live a good life and do good works, then you're a good person. Like, that's what he feels like everything is
that's not
power
true.
of self. Yeah, well,
Because I know
listen.
people who they, I guess for me, from my specific beliefs, they were being. You know what? Let me keep that to the back chat.
Okay. No, but wait, let me get it out. Let me get it out. But even
Uh-huh.
then, like, so when his mother passed, she's from South Carolina, Moncks Corner, South Carolina, right?
Okay.
She is one of those Southerners who migrated north, but she had some trauma, and so some things she just wouldn't talk about, right?
Hmm.
Um, but my oldest son was one of her favorites. Now we're not supposed to have favorites, but we do. So when my son was turning 16, me and my father was getting on him because he was kind of like a rebellious type at that time, right?
Hmm.
For not really bad where I had to run to the priest and all that. Rich Rise and Cash. We kind of talking about spirituality this morning, but I did ask everybody to come through with an inventor as Black American history winds down. And so me and my father both got on him because I told him to do something, he wouldn't do it. And then my father was like, hey, what your mother told you to do, boy? And then I don't know what my son said, but my father was like, you think you could beat me? You think you could beat me? But me and him both, the next day, we both woke up like, I said, Grandma came to me in a dream. He said, yeah, Ma came to me in a dream too, and she was fussing. She did not like that. She paid us both a visit, honey.
That's
Messing with
how
one
it
of her favorite
is.
great grandchildren.
That
Yeah.
yeah. That
Rich Rising Salon.
I
and
will.
that's the thing. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, 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 no. I thought you were done.
I am.
I will say that there are a lot of seers in my family. Um, and I think that a lot of times I feel like it's hereditary. Um, but people don't be wanting to admit to it. And I do have, like, when you just mentioned the dreams, I have aunts who have dreams and the dreams come true. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The Cash Salon. Who else into the chat? Do y'all have y'all inventors? Or do you have an inventor honoring? Are you still here? Would you like to come up as Black History Month winds down so that we could get our great inventors out there? But Going World, are you still here? What is Kojic? I want to make sure I have Kojic correctly.
Church of God in Christ.
Oh, okay. Okay.
There was a difference. And see, and it's interesting you brought that up too, because it was my maternal grandparents. They had differences of how they did view church, because my grandfather, he was a part of the Church of Christ based in that was Nashville, but my grandmother, I think it was a little she had a little bit different upbringing. It was still within the church, but it was more so Baptist, and it was a similar situation with my maternal grandfather's family as well, because I think it was his father who, I think he was more so raised in like a Baptist type of church as well, but his mother was Church of Christ, and they were more so like you had to follow certain rules, and it was very different. You couldn't have you couldn't have instruments. It had to be only vocal instrumentation. Very, very different, because even to this day, I know I have like a small amount of family. They still they still are a part of. It gives me headaches sometimes having to listen to some of that conversation, and then when I interject, they want to make me feel like I'm the odd one out. But I am. I have accepted it. I'm an Aquarius, so I know I'm different. I'm a weird one. I'm the crazy lunatic, as how Bilal says it. So,
Are they kind of it's funny you said that because my best friend was raised Kojic, and then one of my
mhm.
other good friends is Kojic too. So growing up and going to school, my best friend, her dad didn't go to church, her mother did, and they were forced to rain, sleet, or snow. They were
Oh my.
forced to wear skirts, and their mom was like, once you're 18, you don't have to wear skirts, you can wear pants. And my best friend, she goes to church, but she's more now non-denomination. But
Okay.
I know the stories about the Kojic. Like, I was raised Baptist, but I go to apostolic church.
Okay.
um and I feel like the Baptist church did give me what I need spiritually. Um, because I'm from the spiritual aspect as far as being apostolic, it explains a lot more of, like the praying in tongues and the being able to see manifestations and seeing deliverance and all of that. And you don't see that in the Baptists because they don't believe in all of that. But it's just different, if that makes sense.
Now with Baptists, they definitely have like the laying of the hands, and they have like like musical instruments, and I'm trying to think what else. At least the ones that I I've gone to, and also historically speaking, at least within like Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee. Um,
I'm up north, so
oh,
it may be
okay,
totally different.
it could be.
Let me ask you, Chicago is the Midwest, right? But I hear a lot of
Yeah,
Chicagoans, right? And they say they up north.
They are
So,
technically.
yeah, it's up
it's
north.
north.
We just say it's up
Okay,
north.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. You know what I found out? Because Chicagoans, they very proud of their Mississippi roots, and they got Chicago Mississippians. I guess those who identify as soulaan primarily, I've seen them, carry that banner, Chicago Mississippian. But there is also, for New Yorkers,
Alabama.
our primary migration path is the Carolinas, right? We have a lot of people here from different regions of the South, but primarily you'll hear the Carolinas piping up. Everybody got a Carolina story, right?
For
And we're
real.
called, yeah,
I
we're
will
called,
tell you that's my ancestors are from the Carolinas.
Oh
ah,
wow.
So
okay.
okay, so my great okay, and I'm gonna talk about my mom's side really quick. My mom's paternal side is from Virginia and the Carolinas. That's where the Gullah comes from, and they migrated to Mississippi. And my mom's maternal side, they were Louisiana, and then they ended up in Mississippi. So all of them ended up in Mississippi. Even my dad's side. My dad's side is Louisiana, and they ended up in Mississippi. But the Carolinas, yeah. So, and
Wow.
I always try to figure out, like, even like my great grandmother being from great uh, grandmother and grandfather being from Virginia, how did they end up in Mississippi? And in the Carolinas too, how did they ended up in Mississippi? But I have to go back too because there were states part of. It's weird. It's weird, but
Work
I don't know.
potentially.
Huh?
It
Slaves,
could be. Well, oh, that too. That
And
too.
before I
enslaved.
forget, y'all,
Hmm.
before I forget, let me say this. So, like they have Chicago Mississippians, New Yorkers who have the Carolina migration path. are New York Marys, Meri. So every time Mary comes into the chat, I think about that. And we have our own flag and everything. Now, New York history is kind of hidden for some reason, but it's New York Mary and Jersey Mary too. I've seen the Caribbean trying to latch onto talking about New York Marys and Jersey Marys because some of us went into Trinidad, right? Don't listen to them people. The way that they call us and all that other, don't listen to them. They just trying to find any way to latch on. That's all I want to say. Y'all get it from the source, which is Foundational Black Americans. Here, they don't get to take a peek at a resource and think they are expert on us. I just want to say that we have New York Marys like there are Chicago, Mississippi. I'm just trying to tell the history of New York, y'all. Go ahead. I'm
It's
sorry.
needed. No,
Yeah.
that's needed because like when I was up there, every type of melanated person I was thinking that would have been a Black American. Like the guy I was telling you I was in a meeting with, he was telling me all the issues with Sylvia's and was trying to tell me about the place next door, Red Roosters, that's opened by a tether. I was like, Lord have mercy. I thought I was about to catch a case up in there.
And then they think they're expert because of New York. So that's why I said we don't have the power of media and certain. Like I went into Dynasty's room and kind of wilded out because somebody from New York was like, "Oh, they gave away New York." I left, and I was like, fuck
That's
this
not
bitch
true.
right here that left. Fuck that bitch. Don't fucking talk. Like I was going off.
I know.
Because
And it's needed.
yeah, because the more research I do, I understand that Black Americans are compassionate people. Even if we don't like people, we gonna speak up if they were harmed in a certain type of way. We entrusted people who were melanated like us, who we felt were marginalized like us, to be fair to us if they were in certain positions. But they play a good, strong game of group economics. Whereas I think it's a couple of things going on with Black Americans. I think it is Pan-Africanism, I guess you could say Pan-Africanism, but I also think because we were subjugated under racism, colorism, all these types of isms, right, that we don't want to be seen as such. So even though we may feel they don't deserve XYZ, we may not speak out about it. Because why? You hear what they say when we speak out about certain things, and they never use the right word. They be like, "You're just racist." The word is bigoted, even prejudice. We could never be racist. And I'm going to argue we can't be xenophobic because we're in our own homeland. Y'all displacing us. What
Homeland.
do you want us to be?
Exactly.
Nice? When we realize what's going on. So it's just a
I
lot
wouldn't
of
mind niece.
yeah. It's just like a lot of good morning, Ronnie Mac. It's a lot of outmaneuvering us because they were being manipulative. You see what Yvette Clark, and then I do have some topics over there on the side of the
Hmm.
image, but I really want to read Pascal Beverly Randolph's bio. But let me say this. Yvette Clark authored the Caribbean Count Bill in 2009 and 2010. What that is because they've been redefining what Black/African American is. She wanted the Caribbean to stand out when they do the census. Why? Because I found out the census has funding attached to it, and that's how they get some of the enclaves. So, with the bill, she wanted the Caribbean population accurately counted so that their population could be funded for various things. Now, the U.S. Freedmen comes along. I don't know how long they've been asking for a delineation bill or support. She has went silent. Now, she is the head of the CBC. She authored the Caribbean Count Bill. She actively calls for more immigrants to her district so she could keep a seat, we realized. But when my people, our people, want something specifically for us, we don't get it. What she did champion, though, is the Juneteenth bill. And you do know that although we've been celebrating it, Texas has been celebrating Juneteenth since 1866, right? And
Exactly.
some Texans don't even want people outside of Texas because they understand. At first, I was horrified. I was on YouTube and they was like, "We don't want this," and I was like, "Wait, we're family. What are you talking about?" But seeing what New York did, and other people, mainly the Caribbean and sororities, they were trying to make a little bang for their buck, right? Because Juneteenth, conveniently now, they have Caribbean Heritage Month in June. So we do know when we make things federal, it gets appropriated. Oh, okay, Kiki Lolo, have a blessed day, and thank you for coming up.
Thank you. I didn't want to
Yeah,
interrupt you.
it's
Nice meeting
okay.
you.
Nice
Good
meeting you
morning,
too.
Katia. So it's like a lot of appropriation, vulturism, because who makes the most money during Juneteenth now? The corporate, like the department stores where we go and get
Targets.
the
Uh-huh.
plastic plates and right. So she authored that. Well, she pushed for that and the Crown Act for hair discrimination, and it's only in 20 states. But that's not specific to us. Are we covered by the funding for the Caribbean Count Bill? No, we're not. We're not going to get anything because we're not Caribbean, right? But the thing
Exactly.
that she got for us is performative, and when we have a chance or a well-written piece of legislation specifically for us, she goes silent. And you see what she did, right? With the whole SAVE Act. She's in disbelief that 76% of Black Americans want the SAVE Act. Why, BX? Why do you think she would be in disbelief? Because then, if the regulations are tightened, some people ain't gonna slip through. She may not have the immigrant count or vote that she needs to remain in office.
And
So,
the ones that's
yeah,
illegally here.
right.
Because there's a lot of
So
that in Brooklyn.
you know it, right? So what some of us are doing, foundational Black Americans, are trying to have uh, asking everybody, right, to check their states, their cities, to see if anybody on any caucus, the Caribbean caucus, the Haitian caucus, the CBC, seat is up for re-election. If it is, please vote them out or cast a vote against them because there's no formal way to disband those caucuses. But I figure, and y'all can tell me if I'm wrong, if they don't have a seat in Congress, they can't be on the caucus. Does that make sense?
Oh, it does. I know they trickling down here, down south. Because it's blowing my mind how there's a city in Georgia called Clarkston. It's primarily Ethiopians and Somalians. That's all in that whole city.
You know what it is?
That
One
used
comes
to be
down there.
YT. That used to be a
Mhm.
whole YT area for years, and then they came in there. Lord,
But I don't know how they do it, but I know if one get in there, the rest are gonna follow shortly. So, and you know what it is. Once they get their numbers up, they start showing their ugly little head. But you got to think these people, even though something's wrong with their comprehension from the conversations we had, they are manipulative. I think they study certain things and then they swoop in for the takeover, as we're witnessing now. But like I say, we're the greatest comeback kids of all. So, while I have you on the panel, some of the topics that I had was I have a real issue with people who say just black, and I realize sometimes I say just black, but what is just black? We aren't just black. We are like excellence, right? You can't take away our inventions, the way we broke every racial barrier, the way we even championed the globe, right? The way that we push the culture. We do have the power to give somebody more than 15 minutes of fame, and that's what I don't want to do with that Haitian who called us dirty. I want us to stop platforming people, but I don't have the power to tell everybody how to run their platforms. So unfortunately, we do platform these other people who get up there and talk about we dirty or we're just black and they're Caribbean and you know. And I think that's why they get a swelled head. And then also, Trump's State of the Union. Did you watch it? If so, what do you take away from it? I took away the interaction with Ilhan Omar. I think that she should really be deported. She should be
She do.
unseated and deported. Also, I took away the fact that he asked people to stand if America's duty should be to Americans first. And I also took away the fact that he wants to end sanctuary cities because they're harboring the illegals, and some of them have committed violent
Hallelujah.
crimes. Yeah, that's what I'm with. And then the final question, if you choose to answer it, is group economics possible for FBA? You could pick either or you can answer all of them if you would like.
I know for me, when you were bringing up the black, um, I we can use that if that's what folk want to identify with. But we are more than just black. We are literally the soul of this nation. We are connected to the spirit, and we are grounded to this the land here in America. And I guess going into the next part with Ilhan Omar, and it just boggles my mind the amount of scamming that has happened in the state that she and her people have taken over, basically trying to colonize it and make it into another Islamabad. Um, and how they have scammed hundreds of millions of dollars, even out of Medicaid, which is why they're trying to do Medicaid reform there. And people are upset who are actual citizens because it's going to affect them due to all of the scamming. And I hope they do kick her out and everybody who was a part of the scamming that was going on out, not just there but all over the nation, because a lot of them have moved out of that state. They've gone into other neighboring states, they've gone to other blue states, they've gone to sanctuary cities like Clarkston, Georgia, or they've gone or it I'm a little bit heated with their whole situation because I think about how these mofos are demanding reparations.
Can't even speak English good.
Exactly.
Thank you for the likes.
And then I guess to go to the last part, um we definitely need to be getting tangibles. And it should not be going to no Somalian. Like, I'm just thinking these people have already scammed hundreds of millions of dollars, could be even potentially billions, haven't sent not one dime home to fix their homeland. They still have sex trafficking going on there. Because I remember when the last time when I was in London, they had like billboards talking about that in Africa, about Africa and how it was affecting them over there.
Wow. Good morning, Dreadhead. Do you have your inventor? Before you continue the Black American House, I'm going to drop a few links in the chat. You probably already copied and pasted them and participated in the call to action. One is definitely the U.S. Freedmen's Project, and it has the 5 emails. One specifically, well, I'm going to give a couple of them. One specifically is to have a presenter of Brooks Choice from Numbers USA, and he will talk about how all immigration has harmed foundational Black Americans. That would include, you know who I'm going to mention, the Irish. You know what I'm saying? And so on and so forth. One is definitely a delineation bill, and this is going out to the same representatives who voted yes for MENA. MENA is the Middle Eastern Northern Africans who
Oh
delineated
hell.
from the status of white tea because they realized they weren't getting enough benefits or something like that. So that's, and then one is to, I think, repeal the current reparations bill because it's a sham, it's race based, and we do know race based is not going to fly. So one would be the U.S. Freedmen's Project. Another one is for Mandani, who I call Ma'am Dummy, who stood up during his mayor-elect night and said that New York was built by immigrants, ran by immigrants, and will continue to be powered by immigrants. I'm demanding a retraction. I gotta say, this isn't the first. This is my first email campaign, but I've done petitions before. So I love the organic growth of the email campaign because I'm close to 300 signatures. Now, that might be a small number, but for me, that shows growth, and I like growth. One will be Brother Simon's. So there's an issue. Somebody was very upset. Oh, the tethers are saying that, blah, 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 about the way we identify. FBA is not on the census. What can we do? Because we still got to mark African American. We should write in. But Brother Simon is a part of a lobbyist group, if you didn't know. The people that he's associated with have sat or introduced legislation and rallying at the OMB, right? And the term that they came up with is a term that fits not only what would be on our birth certificates, but our ancestors' classifications at certain periods of time throughout history. So that term is Black American Negro descendants of freedmen. So the freedmen is technically our status, right? And if we got them to recognize or admit that freedmen need their protections, which is already stated, right, in somewhere in legislation, because it was the radical Republicans, I gotta say, that helped our ancestors shortly after emancipation, which would be the Reconstruction era. So the lobbyist group did come up with Black American Negro descendants of freedmen. There'll be a petition for that, explaining exactly how they came up with it and the importance of it. So when they put out the new 2030 census, we don't have to pick African American. We can pick Black American Negro descendants of freedmen, which would include FBA, soulaan, Negroes, mulattoes. What else we had? Creole, Geechee. It would include all our sub-identifiers or ethnonyms. So I'm gonna just go ahead and put that on the Good Morning Black Love in the chat, and y'all can copy and paste to your clipboard, whichever ones y'all haven't participated in thus far, and go ahead and let's help the lineage out no matter where we're at. So
And
that one
future
there.
generations.
Yes. Good morning, Basic. Do you have your inventor? And let me see. This one is the U.S. Freedmen's Project. And
Cause I
this
reckon.
one,
Oh, I'm sorry.
no problem. This one will be the retraction for Ma'am Danny. Yeah. Huh? Oh, you wasn't here? I asked everybody to pick an inventor, a Black American inventor, of course, a foundational Black American inventor. Thank you, Black Love. And to come up and just give a little highlight about them. Um, you can go ahead and pick one right now. Mine is on the pen on the prompt there, and that's Paschal Beverly Randolph. He was born in New York. I'm still on my New York theme. And he was a Hoodooist, a sailor, a Civil War service personnel, I want to say. He actively recruited for the Union side of it all. He was into the occult, and he was an author and a tool creator. So when I asked the Gemini, when I asked Gemini to show his tools on the image, this is what they came up with, right? And he was also into like Schmeck magic. But I was just
Oh,
trying, yeah, I gotta read into it. I gotta read more into it too, because um, I'm gonna read his bio for y'all. So I'm just trying to show that, New York. specifically does have had a culture here, that we weren't always Tetherville, that we're very instrumental in all aspects and all walks of life. And honoring thy ancestors, be sure to follow her, right? Because she is into hoodoo and things of that nature. And she says she loves sex magic. It's a real thing.
It
So,
is.
okay, well, I don't know, aunties,
I
we're not
don't.
going to talk
I
about her
don't
sex.
like to. Yeah, I don't like to dabble in that side because that's it. It's very. It it gets kind of. It.
Thank you, babe.
I don't even know the word, but yeah, it gets kind of crazy.
So before it gets too crazy, let me read his bio. This is the summary of Paschal Beverly Randolph. And he was born 1825 and he transitioned in 1875. He was a prominent figure in the 19th century New York who identified as and was legally classified as a Black American. I had to look because the AI image makes him darker than what the Wikipedia image did. I thought I was looking at a white tea man or something. And I said I got to really look for his genealogy. So going into his genealogy, he was born in the Five Points district of Manhattan. He was the son of Flora Beverly, also recorded as Flora Clark or Myers, a woman of, and they do use African descent, y'all, and William Randolph, a white tea man from the prominent Randolph family of Virginia. Because of his heritage and the era in which he lived, he was part of the community of free people of color who were descendants of those held in United States chattel slavery. So, cultural identity and legacy. While Randolph was a tawny man who sometimes claimed various exotic ancestry, such as Malagasy or Spanish, to navigate a deeply racist society, his life and work were firmly rooted in the Black American experience. So they go into his abolitionism, stating he was a vocal abolitionist who used his platform as a barber, orator, and medium to campaign against slavery. Civil War service. He actively recruited black soldiers for the Union Army during the American Civil War. Reconstruction. After the war, he moved to Louisiana to work with the Freedmen's Bureau, where he established schools and taught literacy to formerly enslaved people. I need to speak to Jerika because she's in New Orleans and she said she recently found a connection to New York. So I'm going to see some of the names she had. You never know. Global invention, the seership, and occult systems. I know y'all was wondering where BX was going with this if I asked for inventors, right? So his global invention was Randolph's primary invention was the formalization of erotic alchemy, and seership, the use of magic mirrors and specific mental exercises to gain spiritual insight. He founded the fraternity. It says fraternitas Rosicrucis in 1858, which is the oldest Rosicrucian organization in the United States. His writings, numbering over 50 works, systematized folk magic and hoodoo practices into a structural occult philosophy. These techniques were exported globally and became a foundational influence on modern Western esotericism and spiritual movements practiced in Europe, Asia, and the Americas. It says Americas today. And that's where I land. So all
And
divine honors to Paschal Beverly Randolph. Go ahead.
and it's interesting you said that he's connected to the Randolphs that are in Virginia. Um, that specific family that was from Charlottesville, Virginia, where Monticello is located. They were related to Thomas Jefferson's family of the president that used to be the former president of America. So
Thank you for that. Basic, good morning. Rich Rising.
What's going on? How y'all doing?
good. How
Okay.
you doing?
pretty good. So I guess I'll just throw Frederick Jones in there. He's from Kentucky, and he invented the refrigerated trucks. And since I used to drive trucks, I just wanted to throw him in there. He won the National Medal of Technology. And if anybody knows anything about the refrigerated trucks, it's very vital, especially in today's world and economy where we get shit shipped from all over the nation, and it's very, very important to have those refrigerated trucks, especially for food and stuff like that.
Thank you for that. So I do have some topics on the side. Just black is the first one. Like I'm starting to realize that I'm not liking that. Just black, and I'm guilty of doing that sometimes. Oh yeah, I'm just black. But we're more than just black. We are black excellence. But then now here comes the other folks. You're just black. You're not Caribbean. You're not Haitian. You're not even Nigerian. You're not Ghanaian. So, and then they say just black as if it's a disease or something. And I think when Black Americans say I'm just black, that just means they don't have immigrants in their household. Yeah, we black. Well, no, but where you really come from? I'm black. I'm from here. No, but I'm saying
America.
you know. Then I have Trump's State of the Union. What my takeaways was that he wants to end sanctuary cities. His back and forth with Ilhan Omar, I think that she needs to really be deported. And then also Talib, don't let Talib. She's Palestinian, them people. So don't let her escape our eyesight. Also, is group economics possible for FBA? That the reason for that question is because I believe that there are many more of us who don't identify as foundational Black American because of some type of fear of looking what they would call racist, which isn't the word for us. Bigoted, prejudice, maybe. Even xenophobia, maybe. That's a big maybe. However, we are none of those things. We're just telling people to stop harming us, right? And that's why I like to go to the systemic harm that the melanated folks are doing. So we do know, for me personally, I would say the Asians got a strong game of group economics. That's what Black Americans, well, not Black Americans, because at the time it was flat blackness. That's what Black people need to do. It wasn't even coming to my eyesight at the time the way that the Caribbean was practicing an even stronger thing of group economics, because they're not government authoring bills specifically for their people, remaining silent on our specific bills, but granting us bills under the banner of Black. Meanwhile, the Caribbean still benefits. So there's no exclusivity or ethnic autonomy for foundational Black Americans. So if people are kind of fearful to say, look, I agree. We shouldn't, we should have things specifically for us. Is it really possible to practice group economics? Also, we have this thing. We do know that they co-opted the Black business movement. Now, those restaurants you going in, those discount stores, those whatever store you're going into, how do you know they Black American? Because everybody is saying Black businesses have bad customer service. I ain't gone, but not everybody. I ain't shopping there with them because the customer service. Like, there's some things that we got to stop doing and investigate before we make statements. So, with that basic, do you think is group economics possible for FBA? And you don't have to go off of my observations. Of course, I value your insight. Thank you for the likes, y'all.
Yeah, so I do believe that it is possible. I believe that our people just have to get back. We got to get back to the point where we're okay being uncomfortable. I think we're dealing with a time right now where nobody wants to be uncomfortable, and our ancestors, they were so used to being uncomfortable that it didn't faze them. So if they needed to boycott the bus for over a year, they did it. It didn't matter that they had to walk to work every day or walk to the store, walk everywhere that they had to be. They chose to do it. Our people, for the most part, a lot of us are too comfortable. You know what I'm saying? So we would rather just, a lot of people don't want no action. That's why anytime you see people saying that they're going to boycott something, it's usually for like 3 days or something. They're like, yeah, it's a blackout Friday. We not shopping there for the whole Friday. So it's like that's not going to move the needle. We got to do something that's really going to be substantial. That's really going to send a message if we want change. So if we want group economics, then you're going to have to cut some corners on certain things that you buy from other places. A lot of stuff that you actually don't need, because we do waste a lot of money. So you can cut back on spending. That way, when you come across Black American businesses, we won't too much complain about some of the prices. I know some people do overcharge, and that needs to be addressed too, because I do know some people who overcharge just to be overcharging. But there are a lot of people who have prices, and it's based on the amount of work that they have to do, the fact that they don't have a workforce, the fact that they don't get deals when it comes to manufacturers or distributors and stuff like that. They don't get the deals that these other people get. So we have to take all of that into consideration, and we have to be strong enough to weather the storm and be okay being uncomfortable for a while. As far as the just black thing, I mean, I guess I don't really care. You know what I'm saying? I've always looked at black people as just us in the Americas, and of course, in America, and of course, that got extended to other people. You know what I'm saying, like Africans and stuff like that, and it was just based off of being melanated. But the thing is, these people have been lying, talking about they've always identified as black and all this other stuff that they're now saying. I mean, it's a complete lie. So, being black is not their culture. It's not like, I posted Lupita. She's a Kenyan, and she even said out her own mouth she didn't know that she was black until she got to America. I think Idris Elba said the same thing, if I'm not mistaken. So
He did.
yeah, so these people, they're not black as far as culturally and identity wise. Like that's not who they are, like it is us. And as far as the State of the Union, the parts that I did see, because I didn't watch it, I just saw some clips. It's pretty funny, man. Like Trump is a funny dude. I think he set the Democrats up to look bad, and it worked. You know what I'm saying? Like when I think he asked them like a few questions leading up to him telling everybody to stand if they agree with protecting Americans first. And he pretty much made the Democrats look bad. But other than that, I didn't really see much of the State of the Union, so I can't really speak on it.
Thank you for that. I don't know. Anything else y'all want to chime in on? I was hoping Simon came back. He said I gave him an idea and he left. He peeked back in and he left again. So I don't know what that's about.
Bless his heart.
I think
Yeah.
we're gonna start addressing good old Umar and this fake DI-5 movement where he wants to like Africanize everything, but he won't stay in Africa. Go over there, get some citizenship, and jump on the podcast, get some content going, get some money going off of the performative acts of Pan-Africanism, but it's not real. You know what I'm saying? Like he's not real. Their whole thing is just not real. And they want to talk about a leader. Like that's literally their leader. And he's a whole scammer. And we can talk about the fact that he does I think he's bi-ethnic, if I'm not mistaken. He got he got lineage that goes back to Cuba, yeah.
I didn't know that. I knew about the IRS situation with his 501c3 status and that being taken away. I knew about him being from North Philly, which they are all like that. I will say between Philly and Baltimore, they're very between they are Pan African, and they're also very like into like Islam. I know what you're talking
So
about,
then
but I did not.
it shouldn't have been. It should be a no-brainer if they're Pan African, that he might have Cuban ancestry. But I'm gonna tell you how that came out. I think Umar and his father was going through some things, and his father did an interview and told the interviewer, right? And then Umar admitted that he had some Cuban ancestry.
Yeah, he said I'll have to go find the post because he made a post saying it on Instagram, and I think he
It
said
was
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
go
was
ahead.
about the ancestry because he's been making claims for almost a decade, well, actually over a decade now, that he's related to Frederick Douglass, and the family of Frederick Douglass stated that they don't have connections to him. And yet he still keeps making those claims. Like I can go down so many different rabbit holes with Umar Johnson. It's atrocious, and how he steals money from black women, and how he's literally just using the children as a conduit to be in relationships with black women. And I can go into so many different things about Umar Johnson that because I used to follow Umar years ago, but I had to stop because it was just certain things I could see within the cracks, and it started a rabbit hole for me. But then again, I'm an Aquarius, so that's what I do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
Aquarius.
I noticed y'all
That's
y'all Aquarius is y'all deep on TikTok. What's up with that? What y'all doing? Y'all got a little Aquarius cult going on around here?
We
It's the
ain't got
age of
no Aquarius
Aquarius.
code. It's the
Yeah,
age of Aquarius. We're finding each other. We're finding the differences in each other. Simon is an Aquarius too, if y'all didn't know.
yeah.
Oh
I talk to
wow.
y'all. Y'all ain't
Okay.
Uh,
slick. Y'all ain't slick. I see y'all.
well, you know what though? I want to say this. They say Pisces is the most psychic or spiritual of the zodiac, but I'm willing to put Aquarius up to bat. Oh, Black Love is an Aquarius too. Yeah, go us. Yeah, I bet you Deborah Cox is a Aquarius dread. Remember when we had to find a Nova Scotia in her?
Yeah.
I bet you we could find the
Oh,
Aquarius in her too.
that
I'm
was
teasing.
right.
Uh-huh.
I just wanted to chime in on something
Yeah.
about Umar using his platform to, basically try to run through women and take money from women. That's something that Blue Fire pointed out. Our sister Blue Fire pointed out. She said a lot of the Pan Africans, she called them panty hustlers. Cause you know what I'm saying, they Pan Africans, but they panty hustlers. They be hustling women, and it's like they use Pan Africanism to, to get women, you know what I'm saying? And manipulate women, and it's really
Mm-hmm.
unfortunate, So Blue Fire, she got a term for it. She call them panty hustlers. But yeah, that's exactly what he does, and even some of these Pan Africans on TikTok, I see it. You know what I'm saying? This dude named Casso, he's down in Florida, and I see it. All like his whole following is all women, and he's like the black and brown, the black and brown. And one thing you can tell who's warming a man's bed based off of some of the things that he'll say out of his mouth, and based on the people he'll protect. If you see somebody, uh making little statements about the black and the brown, you know what I'm saying? You gotta take a step back and think about who might be warming his bed at night, you know what I'm saying? Because one thing about men, we're protectors naturally, and if we are, sleeping brown, sleeping white, sleeping, Latino or immigrant,
Oh, what happened? He was cooking.
A text message, but while he or a call, they said just wrote that a cop got pew
when it comes to Pan
in his
Africanism.
area. You went out for a little while,
Yeah,
like
you
Oh,
did.
well, I don't know. I think I had a little short in my wire. But dig this, because I'm trying to charge up at the same time. But dig this. So what I was saying was that
good morning,
you
Chris.
you can tell who's warming somebody's bed by what they're standing up for and what they're speaking out against. You know what I'm saying? And when you see some of these guys that come on here and they're talking about we are being anti YT or we're being anti immigrant, when that's being hateful or something like that, you can always tell who's warming who's bed, you know what I'm saying, because of what they're defending and what they're speaking out on, what their platform is, And let me get to my inventor spotlight too. I got to do that, Got to get to my inventor spotlight.
Yes, please. Thank you.
So yeah.
Thank you.
I chose Nathaniel Alexander and the folding chair because specifically we are always told that we don't fight nobody except the people that look like us, even though these people don't look like us. But the folding chair was invented by a black man, and I'm gonna show y'all a great use of the folding chair. So
yeah, come on now.
I want to refer y'all to Exhibit A, the Montgomery Brawl. So we don't fight nobody except people that look like us, huh? And look at this great American invention being put to work during the Montgomery Brawl, and that's a black American that invented that.
Weasel.
Yes, indeed, the folding chair, Nathaniel Alexander. You know what I'm saying? So whenever they tell you we don't fight nobody but black people, just point to the invention of the folding chair, Nathaniel Alexander, and the Montgomery Brawl. There we go.
Fair use, and I love to see it. I love to see it. Thank you, Brother Drag. All divine honor. You said Nathaniel?
Yeah, Alexander.
All divine honor to Nathaniel Alexander. And Basic says, tell them to show us Africans brawl with white tea people. Basic. Go ahead, Dredd. What happened?
I was saying exactly. You're not gonna see a Lagos brawl where they riding on the colonizers that are coming over there disrespecting their women, or what's a city in Kenya? What's a city in Kenya? I don't know, because there's
Nairobi,
yeah, Nairobi, Kenya. You won't see them, having a Nairobi brawl because those YT people are coming over there and using their women as cheap sexual laborers. You know what I'm saying? Smex workers. You know what I'm saying? And you're not gonna see that. You're not gonna see them come in and defend each other like that against the colonizer.
They'll make them a queen though, because I still remember that video Simon posted around the end of last year. I'm still cracking up. They done put this YT woman up in this like goat. I couldn't tell, like a go-kart. They took like some pieces of wood.
But you'll find them giving Ghana. Remember when they did the second year to return, gave out some citizenships? Then they gave out some citizenships to some white tea Arab looking people.
Yeah.
So they'll make them chiefs and citizens and queens and shit. But we rarely find them going upside somebody's head. But Basic said something very important, that there was a police who was pew-pewed, right? Basic?
Yeah, last night a cop got pew-pewed in the dome, and they've been looking for the dude ever since. Like it's been crazy, like police everywhere, and they still haven't found him. I'm pretty sure 9 times out of 10, this dude, first of all, he's more than likely not in Memphis. And the thing about Memphis is we're so close to so many different places. Like Memphis is literally across the bridge from Arkansas, where you can get to Mississippi from here is right down the road. Alabama is not far either. So dude could be anywhere.
Wow. Do you know anything about the dude? Is he actually from Memphis or was just passing through? Good morning, Bruce.
as far as I can tell, I think he's like a Memphis dude, but I don't personally know him.
Thank
He's
you
my
in the heartbeat.
he's my age, and I think he's a Memphis dude from what I can tell.
Keep us posted.
Yeah, they got his face everywhere. So yeah, they definitely looking for him. You know, you do something to a cop, man, they going full force.
That reminds me of, well, this reminds me of Ozone. I think Ozone was formerly in fact, but he was really deep in the community. And they did show the tape. He felt targeted, like he was targeted. And then I remember that Michi X, she would broadcast his trial, and we was hoping that he would get off on self-defense. I think it was self-defense. But she had some calls to actions for him to. Um, but sometimes our social media posts, like if you say the pigs are after me and stuff, But I think that he has an appeal going. I haven't been on YouTube and her chat in a while, so I'm not really familiar with the case. But that's what happened. Like he was able to get out of Florida, I think it happened, and into Georgia where he was caught. My thing is, this is my thing. Why wasn't that man taken to Cuba? Like, don't laugh. No, seriously, right? So I just think that we have our revolutionaries still out there stomping the yard, whether they're Pan African or not, right? That he was instrumental in the community. I think that people like that should be safe to get to Cuba and not told on because they went to Georgia. That's just my thoughts. I'm an outsider looking in, and I don't really talk to him
So
or the family. So.
so my thing, this is my thing about certain things, because within FBA, I know we had this discussion before, and I think I posed the topic of like the patriotism, because I think some of us have there's a difference in patriotism and the meaning of it for us. For me, it's about my people. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm loyal to my people. I'm about my people. I'm not like, but other people are like patriots to the land and to the country type of thing, which is cool. I mean, if that's your thing, but I'm more so for my people, and I think less of that would happen if our people were more just like focused on us as a people instead of trying to be patriots of the country, if that makes any sense. Because if you're a patriot to the country, then certain things that happen, I feel like you'll probably snitch because you think in your mind they might be a problem for the country, no matter what they did or whatever, even if it was righteous. There are certain people who want to be all Americans, and they would snitch on their own people.
No, I get you. I get you. Yeah, I argue that Black Americans are the most patriotic in this country, right? But we're patriotic to the point we want to make things fair and comfortable for us and everybody, right? Um, not all of our ancestors were impoverished. Some did have money where, if they wanted to, they could have went to Africa. They ain't mentioned Africa. You know what I'm saying? I argue there's two types of patriotism. There's black patriotism, and then there's white tea patriotism. White tea patriotism wants to dominate America and everybody in it, and if not, globally as well. Black Americans, what we want is fairness, equality, and a comfortable life. We want safety, protection, and the right to govern ourselves. But we're not going to let anything happen to America. That's why when I was saying, oh, the military is no place for a black man because of the history of black men in military, there are others who are standing 10 toes down on being in the military for different reasons. Now, the outsiders come here, they'll join the military for benefits and citizenship and all of that. We're joining it not only for the benefits, but because it's an honor in that because of our ancestors who fought in every major war there was, correct? So that's more so along my mindset. And I see Ishmael, our one of our beloved historians. Would you like to come up and talk about an Black American inventor ish?
Oh, a fellow historian.
Uh huh. And I do have some topics here. Dred, did you read my topics? Just Black, Trump's State of the Union, and is group economics. Oh, she may have left, huh? Is group economics possible for FBA? There's some other platforms up, so she might have just came to show love and then scrolled on. Yeah, maybe she'll peek back in. Dred, are you available?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. So
Yeah.
just black is I'm tired. Sometimes I do it too. Oh, I'm just black. But when they be like, what are you? Oh, I'm black. Just black? Like we gotta be mixed with some shit.
Yeah.
And then we got the Kaisanots and the other ones. You're just black. You ain't got this. You ain't got that. That's that mind frame. Then what
And
did you
keep
take from
reminding
the
me.
the State of the Union? I remember Ilhan Omar and Trump going back and forth. Him saying he wants to end sanctuary cities, which I'm on board with. And when he asked people to stand, if America's duty should be to protect American citizens first, there were those who wouldn't stand up. Particularly Ilhan Omar, and don't let Tlaib fly under the radar. She's Palestinian, and she was active with the protests here in America for And then is group economics possible for FBA? My mindset when I asked that question was I noticed that what I think is a lot of us are on board with delineation, but I think some are fearful, even if they agree, to actually acknowledge it because they don't want to be deemed as, what do they call us? Racist, hateful, xenophobic, all these things. When actually all we're doing is telling people stop harming us. And that shouldn't be seen as a cult, hateful, none of those things. So, is it fully possible for FBA to practice group economics in the manner that we need, like the Caribbean is doing? Because I would have never thought their group economics was just as strong as the Asians, and I'm here in New York. So, what do you think, Drag?
Okay. I'll start from the top. So on the topic of just black, I never, I had never given any thought to how it sounds to say just black, until of course recent years, when people ask you what you're mixed with or and things like that, and you say, oh well, I'm just black, it does have a bad sound to it, you know what I'm saying? It sounds bad, I have no excuse for forever using that phrase, and I think the problem is we just didn't think about the words that were coming out of our mouths when we said just black in the past. I will never say it again. That's one thing I can truly say, because just black in the sense of our ethnic group is an amazing thing. To be just foundational black American, you're talking about people who are the inventors, the innovators, the people who have created the most influential culture the world has ever seen. Even the Roman Empire, not as influential as us. So to be, quote, just black is probably the most amazing thing that you could say. That's the most amazing answer to the question of what are you mixed with? You know what I'm saying? It does sound bad, but it's, when I tell you, there's power behind being just black. There's a lot of power behind it. It's a lot of history, a lot of culture, and a lot of influence behind just black. You know what I'm saying? So, but I will never say it again. Because it definitely does sound bad, but there's a lot behind being black American. let's see, the State
Wait,
of the
before you
Union.
go on, can
Uh,
I just say this? Chichia says just black comes off as pejorative, and she says she's never used that personally for that reason. The Black Americans House says, I want them to keep reminding that I'm black. That black created Wall Street, which built the global economy, the world's economy. Okay, go ahead, Dre.
yeah, facts, facts. Well said. But yeah. But I have used it. Not in a way of diminishing our people, but when people say, "What are you mixed with?" because of my eyes, they say, "What are you mixed with? You must have some sort of Asian or something in you." And I'm like, no, I'm just black. I ain't mixed with nothing. Um, and so that that's something that's been asked, and like I said, I have to in retrospect look back and say that did sound bad just to say just black. You know what I'm saying? No. I am black. You know what I'm saying? Own it. You know what I'm saying? And it's a blessing to be just black, so to speak. So on the State of the Union, I didn't see the entire address. I heard about some shenanigans from Ilhan Omar. I just wish she would go. I'm gonna keep it real with you. And I was listening to Theo, the Truth. I was on her live last night, and she said, "I don't understand why you would go to somebody else's country as an immigrant and want to be in their politics and tell the people of that particular country what to do and try to manage the politics of that particular country. Like think about how backwards that is. If I move to Tanzania, I'm not gonna try to get into the politics and have power over the people of Tanzania. You know what I'm saying? If I move to, it doesn't matter what you name the country. You know what I'm saying? I have no interest in trying to be a dominant power in a dominant power position over the people of that country. I'm a damn immigrant. Like who do these people think they are? What are we doing? I just thought about that. So Ilhan, I just wish she would just get out. Just go. Just get on.
Hasta la
Chichia
vista.
reminds us. Yep, Chichia reminds us they wouldn't allow us to do it if we wanted to. They wouldn't
Exactly.
allow us to. I want to say shout out Slim Benjamin, shout out Dynasty, shout out to FBA. I think CJ and Cousin Skeeter just came in. Good morning, Cousin Skeeter. Go ahead, Dre.
Yeah. And something else. A lot of these people, they have a lot of disdain for America because
You went out. The sound went out. I can't hear.
You might have got a text or a call.
Yeah. Salute. Y'all complete your deli heart meats, please. Thank you.
I had a phone call come through.
Oh, okay, there you go. His honey's calling him early in the morning. What? Wait, hold on. Dynasty says Miss K tried to blitz me and some brothers and sisters. She next up for Kutu. Who's Miss K?
Oh Lord, have
Miss
mercy.
Kira? You talking about the Pan African? Not an FBA, right? A Pan African? Go ahead, Dre, while we wait for the answer.
Yeah,
Got
sorry
to be
about
more
that.
careful.
Yeah, I'm getting back-to-back phone calls, but so
No,
yeah, so
them honeys. They know when you talking, huh?
Lord, oh my goodness. So but yeah. So as far as the State of the Union, I heard some cool things. I heard some very innovative ideas. I don't know how well some of them would work. You know what I'm saying? Like replacing taxes with tariffs. I don't think that would work. I think milk would be a $40 a gallon. So I don't know if that would be a great idea, but
If it ended up being like that, $40, I would be on a farm right now, raising my own chickens and getting my own goats and everything. Cause $40 is crazy.
I kind of wanted, well, no, I'm lying. I don't want to get into farming, y'all. I don't like animals. I don't like pets.
Oh,
The only thing I like cute little, I like pit bulls.
Oh Lord.
Especially when they baby. Slim Benjamin is laughing. Well, I think pit bulls are like a New York staple. A lot of people have pit bulls, but we also have the chihuahuas and the little. Now people like the teacups and the little furry babies. I call
And
them.
terriers.
But there's another one. It was. It's not a bloodhound. They got the pud. I think they might be. What are they pudgies? I don't know what to call these dogs. They got a similar face to a. Oh man, that might have been an important call. Dread drop. So they have like a pug face. Maybe it's a pug. Is there a dog called the pug?
I think there is one called a pug. It's like a light brown color.
I'm just picturing the nose. But let me tell you something. Rottweilers are beautiful dogs, right? However, in New York, the people that have Rottweilers, they train them for security. So
Here
it's
too.
like I used to go to this lady's house and she used to literally have to lock the dogs up. And we couldn't like scream, or talk above a certain level. But when you see a dog that you know is trained for security, sometimes you will scream. And you know why? Because New York people, the men specifically, have a habit of doing dumb shit, right? So I remember going to the store with my older sister's friend. And I wasn't like young. Maybe I was like 12 or 13. And the man who had one of their friends who had a Rottweiler tried to stick him on us. I know he was
Oh.
playing, but we took off running. So now, as an adult, I got a little fear behind a Rottweiler. And I go to a lady's house. She got two big Rottweilers.
Oh
Oh
Lord.
my God. So,
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
and people are fearful of pit bulls because some of our people train them very horribly. You know what I'm saying? To attack, to be on the defense. But other than
It's
that, I
dog
love them,
fighting.
especially when they babies.
Cause down here, like
Yeah, it's dog
between
fighting.
yeah, cause like between like Georgia, Tennessee, Alabama, South Carolina, there are folks. It's like between that, it's a long history of not just dog
Thank you,
fighting,
Dynasty.
but I don't know if I can even say it on here, but it's COCK fighting. But that's how a lot of, especially
Uh-huh.
out in the country, they'll call it that. Cause they'll do that as well with chickens.
Thank you, Slim. Yeah, I never seen that, and I don't like when they do the pit bulls because those puppies are torn apart. I
Michael
don't think
Vick
that's right.
was
Yeah, and I think
arrested for
DMX
that.
too, right? DMX had
Was
an
he?
issue with dogs. Well, he used to have a lot of dogs, and I know he had. Look it up. He had some issues. Now I don't want to put dog fighting on him if he didn't do that, but he had an issue with dogs. He didn't serve no time for it, if not mistaken. But I know that it was a mention of him and his pits.
I know
Yeah.
he loved dogs because there's a lot of pictures of him I see with
Yeah.
with
And then
with
he'd be
pit
like, "Where
bulls.
my dogs at? Where my dogs at?" you know.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, shout out to y'all. I have been up for a few hours. I know y'all looking at my prompt. Y'all do know I'm trying to destroy the narrative of Tetherville in New York being Tetherville by showing how we were intricate in all stages of New York. As we're winding down Black American History Month, we do know that Black American history doesn't stop. And when you look at my page, you'll see I have Black American History or Black History 365. And I do spotlights of either little well known Black history or things that's like just not familiar to certain regions throughout the nation. So this prompt is about hoodoo because I wanted to know a famous hoodoo inventor in New York specifically during the early years. And Paschal Beverly Randolph came up. So we do know they say his mother is of African descent, y'all. And his father is a White T. Randolph from Virginia. So Paschal here did look white tea, but the image AI created is this astounding man here. So all divine honors to Paschal. He was a Hoodooist who was also a sailor at 16. He actively recruited for the Union Army during the Civil. He was an occult author and a tool creator. He created mirrors and what they say, erotic alchemy. So
Yeah,
that's much
erotic.
magic. Yeah. Um, and some of the tools, when I asked him to show me the tools that he created, these great things came up: the tarot cards, the crystal ball, and the shield.
Oh,
Yeah.
he
I don't
created
know what
tarot
the,
cards?
I know he didn't create tarot cards, but that's what came up.
I was about
But
to say, I was like,
you
he a
do,
bad one.
I got to look into it because he was an author of 50 books relating to his craft. So I got to look further into him. His global invention was seership. And we do know a lot of our grannies are seers. Dreams that we have are premonitions, that's an act of seeing. But he made it a global invention from the structure that he gave it. I also want to say this. I give pushback because I see it to people saying that hoodoo is West African. We weren't around the Africans and we are indigenous. And me and my cousin always used to have this argument. I say I get my spirituality from well, I was calling it native. From the native side, and he was like, "Why not the Africans? Why not the Africans?" Because he's Pan African, and I was like, "I don't know. I just feel, I just feel." But I believe that hoodoo is an indigenous science, right? An indigenous type of spirituality. I'm not denying the slave trade happened or that we don't have any type of, well, I'm going to say me. My ancestors were Afro Dutch in the north, and they mixed in with the Ramapo tribe. So that's my lineage. But I felt
Wow.
like, yeah, yeah. And the Ramapo, if you look them up, they are state recognized, right? And they acknowledge their multicultural roots, or I would have never said it because I looked it up before I told anybody. But I'm not claiming, I don't want to go over there to no powwows or nothing, but I got the right to honor my indigenous ancestors. And I feel hoodoo is a form of Christianity base, right? Because you use the Psalms and stuff like that, along with the roots and the herbs. It's an indigenous science, an indigenous spiritual practice. I wouldn't give it all to West Africa. I wouldn't give it to them. And there's a lot of people saying that it comes from West Africa. And I just don't see how that is. You see how it is, the
Uh,
Black American?
I know there are spiritual practices throughout West Africa. I can't even say it's only West Africa because, but just Africa in general. But I guess for me, and for my family, um, I will say I feel like it was more so the indigenous that were here out in America, or even if it was the African, because we also have to put in perspective, and I am kind of thankful for what Professor Allen had brought up about how a lot of the ruling class or people adjacent to it, right before they were selling us into chattel slavery and sending us on those our ancestors on the ships to come over to the to America, or the colonies at that specific time, to have them walk around trees as a
Yeah.
ritual to forget
Hmm.
everything, which was the start of a spiritual delineation there. And
Yeah.
they only have to be, and that's why when I listen to all these other people that want to latch themselves onto us, like the only people that you can blame is that ruling class. That's for why y'all still have YT people from Europe and America, Australia, and the YT Asians that are invading your land now because they are allowing them to come over there.
So I want to say say this: if they walk their ancestors around a forgetful tree, and then once, thank God that they made it through the Middle Passage, right? Once here, they were forbidden to practice certain things. I went and put hoodoo on West Africa. Now, could there
It's
have
not.
been some influence from there? Maybe, but at this point in time, I don't want to say that it's rooted from West Africa when we do understand that. Did they bring the roots and herbs from Africa, or were they already here and the indigenous that were here added some elements to it? Can we say hoodoo is amalgamated? I'd be even willing to go with that before I just say it's West African. Because I got to be honest, I took them DNA tests, and my maternal haplogroup could be from three places, and none of them three places is West Africa or Central Africa. It's European, Morocco, or North African. My maternal haplogroup, and it's very rare.
Southern? Is it like Southern Europe or?
I don't know. I got a lot of Brits in my family. My family was enslaved. My ancestors were enslaved by the Dutch. And my cousin tells me they were Dutch by the way of Germany. That's why I don't understand who the fuck. Oh, sorry, I'm cursing. Um,
You doing
who
like
the
what
Dutch
Afro did
are?
last night?
Huh? Who was cursing? I was
I'm saying,
cursing last night.
no, I'm saying you doing like how Afro did last night because I was shocked that he was cursing last night.
He was pissed. Chichia says that a lot of us don't have African mtDNA. Mine comes from Europe, meaning hers comes from Europe too. So yeah. And my grandmother ain't never said she was African. She didn't even say. I never heard her say I'm a black woman either, right? But she would say her mom is. She would say Native. So depending on the generation of our ancestors in the region, some would say they were native today. But she had the copper colored skin, very beautiful woman. And I used to post a picture, but then stuff started getting weird. People started taking other people's ancestry, and I just said, let me go ahead and take my granny down. And that really sucks because every now and then I like to post my grandmother. That's a form of veneration too. But
Hmm.
anyway, I'm not an expert on hoodoo. I practiced hoodoo without knowing I was practicing hoodoo because hoodoo is in our everyday lives, right? Especially in the holidays. We have certain foods we cook and stuff like that, certain sayings, certain practices. And a lot of it, I'm realizing we passed up as being superstitious. This is not for all of us. Some people already know or knew or practiced hoodoo, right? They had the correct name for it and stuff. So I'm not an expert. I'm only as good as the people that I entrust to give me guidance. And so far, I'm not hearing much of them saying that hoodoo is West African. So, as we push for ethnic autonomy, as everybody else has, that should include our hoodoo too. Because we do know it's a closed spiritual system. So if it's closed, that means it's specific to us. And we are demanding ethnic autonomy for our hoodoo, right? For our ancestors' languages, because they have more than just Tut. And Tut is they're trying to exploit Tut. Trust me, being a New Yorker, let's not
Are
let
you
them exploit.
serious?
There's all types of non-FBA, other ethnic groups are trying to teach the class, trying to put resources out.
Wow.
And why do you think I keep blocking Hawaiian Punch from every room? Somehow, and we don't know her lineage, but somehow she was able to learn Tut, but she's not protecting the sanctity of it, right? Because she'll come in and she told everything about a certain people that taught her Tut. She writes it out in the comments. Like,
Wow.
let me tell you something. I have half Caribbean kids, and y'all probably think I'm over here running them up, teaching my children everything. Do you know I don't think they're ready to learn Tut, so I ain't teaching them Tut.
Wow. I'm
And my
just,
children are
ugh.
grown. But I'm Lynn, it's just one is very inclusive. He has friends from everywhere and he may not understand. For me, this is
Mhm.
just me. And
Mhm.
I don't feel no ways about not teaching them to at this time, right? because somebody I know was like, she ain't teaching her sister because her sister tell everything. We just know our people. That mean the people we are around in our daily life too. Good morning, Black American. So, yeah, what I'm saying is let's not let hoodoo become exploited like rap, like they're trying to do with our ancestors' language tut. Pig
We gotta
Latin.
gatekeep.
I was trying to find out if Pig Latin was ours because they saying it was just a street language, and I don't think that's true. But that's exploited because the Latinos will be up here speaking Pig Latin.
Hmm. They do it
Hmm.
down here.
Uh huh. So yeah, I don't know. I might make this a repeat topic, and whoever wants to join tomorrow, I will be going live again about 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. But it's Saturday. Do y'all sleep late? I'll try to
I,
go. Hmm.
mm, I, it kind of just depends on how I really am. I can be if if you're gonna do it early, I wouldn't mind doing it early because it's not a problem. Um, but it doesn't matter.
Okay. Well, I'll go live by 9 a.m. If I'm not live by 9 a.m., then I'll go live by 1. That means I'm getting a little sleep, a little extra sleep. And you could pick another inventor if you want. I might change one of those topics. I think I ran out Trump's State of the Union. And whoever wants to join tomorrow, which is Saturday, I understand if you don't. But this is still a safe space. You can still come up here and vent, or just something you would like to introduce as we wind down February's our Black History Month. But then comes March, where I'm going to start doing Black History 365, because our history never stops. Any last words to Black American?
I guess my last words are just we need to focus on delineation. We need to focus on ourselves. We need to stop at right now I should say we've done too much of focusing on everybody else's problems. We need to start having on our frontal lobes what is going to make our community better because we can't help no one else if we still struggling and scratching and surviving.
That's facts. And Slim Benjamin, I believe this is in reference to hoodoo, when he says they treating it like the tall T-shirt era, or it could be in regards to tut and how things are starting to be exploited. We have to gatekeep. My name is BX, the most wanted FBA, aka BX, the gatekeeper, and I've been the gatekeeper for a while. So when something is closed, and I haven't been on my A game lately. Usually I be telling people and like Simon, everybody, because I still do it to him. He gets to talking, I'm like, shh, not too much. Shh, Simon, you're doing too much. And I used to do that to a lot of people. So when you tell me something is closed, I take it to the extreme. It got a padlock on it for me.
Me
So
too.
we are the guardians of our culture. We are demanding. Slim Benjamin says he was talking about both. Not only are we demanding reparations, but ethnic autonomy, flat blackness, is unaliving. So is Pan Africanism. But in the meantime, there's still a process to remove things like African American. Whenever you see one of our reparationist activists, no matter where they are in the nation, please take the 30 seconds out to sign their petition after you read it, because we're not removing the word black. So you got to be mindful of that. I got to put that out there. But if it's about reparations being specifically for us and it's worded accordingly, by now y'all know what that is. Go ahead, give it a sign and a share, and feel free to come announce it on any platform. Well, I can only speak for my own, on the platform that I run. And so, with that said, I want to wish everybody a beautiful, blessed, and productive weekend. So, peace, love, light, and reparations to my foundational Black Americans or any one of the lineage who could identify as such, but just don't like different labels. I love us for real. And y'all
Be
catch me on
one.
another panel acting up or something. It's Friday.
Be one.
B1. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you for the likes and the gifts and everything. I appreciate and I love you all. One.
Oh, you too.
Tales to modern schemes, unraveling truths and chasing dreams.